All right, welcome to Good Vibes. I don't know why I got the laughs today, but I do. So our transformation coach is here, Debbie Cox DeNova. And have you ever wondered why you can't attract great friends? Well, she's here to tell you why and how you can change it all around. Right, Debbie?
I am. We talk
Good
a
to
lot.
see you.
It's good seeing you too. We talk a lot about loneliness. It's a public health epidemic. Three out of five Americans report feeling lonely, and loneliness. We need to distinguish loneliness from solitude, right? Solitude is when you choose to be alone in order to recharge, and a lot of introverts will do that. But loneliness is actually an experience that nobody would choose. And yet, it is a greater predictor of mortality than obesity, smoking a pack of cigarettes a day, and it actually can be lethal to human beings. And it's a pervasive problem. So we're going to talk about friendships in particular, because what happens is there's a certain age at which the number of friends that you have peaks, and then there's a steep decline after that in adulthood. Can you guess what age that might be?
I would say 50.
50. It's actually 29.
Really?
So at 29
well,
on
that's
average.
a big
29, you hit your peak, and then for whatever reason, there's a steep decline in the number of friends that you have. You start losing friends, okay?
Wow.
Now, how long do you think it takes on average just to make a good friend? Not intimate friend, but just a friend. How long in terms of time do you
Well,
think?
I'll speak of my
How many
4 to
weeks?
5 months.
How many weeks? Okay, so it's actually 3 to 9 weeks. Okay.
Okay.
Then if you want to go further and make a good friend, how long do you think? How many months?
12.
12. It's actually 4.
Really?
How many hours do you think it would
Well,
take?
I'm on a lapsed
You are.
timetable.
It's okay.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, it varies, but
Yeah.
how many hours do you think you need to put in?
A day?
In
week?
order total to make an intimate friend?
I would say that's 125.
90.
Okay. At least I'm
90.
getting closer.
Yes, you are. So we want to talk about investing into our friendships, because we are not taught a lot about how to intentionally make good friendships, how to set goals around friendships. That's sort of something that we figure is going to happen on its own, but it's not happening on its own. So if you have found as an adult that you're having a hard time making new friends, or you feel like the quality of the friendships that you have are not fulfilling, because remember, in order for us to have the happiness and health benefits that come from good quality relationships, we have to feel safe and seen in a satisfying way with our friendships. Okay, so it's not enough to call somebody a friend. Are you in the experience of vulnerability with your friend? Can you cry on their shoulder? Can you tell them your deep, dark truth? That's the quality of friendship that we're talking about. And in a Harvard study that spanned over 80 plus years on men, it showed that the men who were the happiest and the healthiest overall had the deepest quality of relationships. And we're not talking about total number of relationships. We're talking about the depth and the quality.
Yeah,
It improved-
intimacy.
Intimacy,
Yeah.
right. And it actually improves your love life too, because, therapist Esther Perel says that a long time ago, a couple hundred years ago, we lived in these tight-knit communities. We had a lot of people to tap into for different needs. And now, these days, we're sort of separated, and we're trying to put all of that on our partner, and that's just unreasonable. So let's go back to talking about setting goals around friendships, what kind of friends you should be looking for, and then how to make those connections, especially if you struggle
Now, some
socially.
people, it's important for them to have unlimited amount of friends.
Yes.
And others, when I get off of work, I want to go work in the garden or in the land or something, so I want to be by myself.
Yes,
So
and
there's a big difference.
There is a big difference, and it could be genetics actually. So if you're somebody who struggles and you have social anxiety, that is probably not your fault. There is, about dopamine, right? The pleasure chemical,
Yeah.
and it has a lot to do with dopamine. So the gene DRD4 that is responsible for the production of dopamine is 1 in 5 people have a long form of this, and this means that they're more prone to being open, making friends, taking risks, being adventurous, right? They're out there seeking more dopamine experiences. So if you're not one of those people, but you're comparing yourself to somebody who has a long form of DRD4, then you may find yourself going, what's wrong with me? There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with being an introvert, an extrovert, an ambivert, somewhere in between. And there's nothing wrong if you're having social anxiety. But we're going to talk about some strategies to help get you outside of yourself if you're wanting to look for true connection.
I'm like that 8 hours a day, but after the 8 hours, Green acres.
Yes. And that's the solitude, right? That's
Yeah.
the distinction between
Because I
being
guess I'm
lonely
in a
and-
big public setting
You
all
are.
the time.
You are.
So
yeah.
you want to sort of step outside. Now, if
Absolutely.
you're in a job where you don't have any public setting or no windows in your office,
Yeah.
you probably get off at 5 and go, party. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. And you might.
Yeah.
So here's what, just as you do with anything else, investing into friendships is one of the most valuable things that you can do. Okay. So you have a lot of people who are really good at financial investment, cryptocurrency or whatever, but they're not investing a lot into their relationships, and you can see that it shows. So set your intention about your goals. So maybe, for example, pick 3 people in your circle, outside circle, that you'd like to up level to a closer, intimate connection with. Okay. Or you want, because you want to set those specific goals, right? Or set a goal to make 3 different types of friends, because it's important to remember that our friends have their limits, right? You might have that one friend who you would call to help you move, and they would drop everything and do it, but they're not the person to take the emotional load of a breakup. You don't want to cry on their shoulder. They're just not
Right.
there for that, right? And that's okay. To remember that specific types of friends, some of them you may go hiking with, you may exercise with, some of them you would tell dirty jokes to, and others you wouldn't, right? Some of them you would you're in church group with. So having different types of friends and understanding the needs that they meet in your life is really important, and then setting goals for the types of friends that you want to draw in.
I know the people at the coffee shop can't wait for round 2 here. And I tease Coach Brian Gano going into the break.
Yeah.
He's an avid watcher. Says he learns a lot.
We love you, Coach.
Yeah. So let's take him to another level here.
Okay. All right. So we're setting specific goals around our friendships, right? We know that we're identifying people that we want to bring closer to us. We're identifying the types of friends that we want to bring in. So you want to set specific goals. So, maybe 3 to start with, and then know why you're bringing in your friendship. So again, you may have enough friends that you can talk to about the secret dark stuff, but maybe not any friends to go work out with you or that sort of thing. So you want to identify people. A really good thing to think about, identify people that represent the ideal that you would like to become, recognizing that we rub off on each other, we're contagious, right? So there is some truth to that you become the sum of the 5 people that you hang around with the most. You want to be very, very careful about pulling in people who represent qualities that you don't appreciate, right? And then you want to remember what we talked about accepting yourself, right? Really knowing yourself, working on yourself to become the kind of person that you respect, because like attracts like, right? So if you have an experience of yourself and you actually start appreciating yourself, it is much more easy for you to attract people who are actually like you and actually for you, so that you're belonging instead of trying to fit in instead of editing
You
yourself.
always sort of, at least in my life, it's not that I always know what I want,
Yeah,
but I sure know what I don't want.
exactly. And
And
that,
so I don't want somebody sitting at the coffee table with me who, I want to laugh. I want to trade barbs. I want
exactly. And
to engage.
that is a really, really great place to start, because a lot of people, whether we're talking about romantic relationships or friendships, they have a very clear list about what they don't want based on their own experiences. And that really is the gift of your past experiences. Go ahead and make a list of all the things that you can't stand about the people that have harmed you in the past, because that will give you a very easy list then to make of what you do want. If someone stabbed you in the back, then you want loyalty in your next friendship, right? If
Right.
someone is gossiping about you, and you want the type of person who comes to you and speaks honest truths right to you, right? And so that will give you a list of specifically
So your
what you
past
want.
experiences sort of dictate where you want to be in your future.
They can and should for you if you're being intentional. And that's really what we're talking about here, is being intentional about who you draw in. The other thing is that we make all sorts of casual friends through just the happenstance of life, right? You happen to work together, you happen to do this or that. Do not be afraid to cull your friendship group. You want to take care of eliminating people who are ambivalent friends. Remember, we talked about ambivalent friends are more toxic to your health than even frenemies, because you put up boundaries for those frenemies. You don't bring them in close. But ambivalent friendships, where you're kind of like, I'm not sure if I want to spend time with them or not, or if they're for me or against me. Are they even happy when I got that job promotion?
Right.
Those are the friendships that you get to edit out. And a lot of people feel bad because of the amount of time they've known them, either their family or they've worked very long together. Those are not, they should not be qualifiers for your close, intimate circle. If a person doesn't feel like whole yes, then go ahead and move them out so that you make space in your inner circle. I mean, our time and energy is finite. So we want to make sure that we're spending it on people who make us feel safe and seen in a satisfying way.
I can honestly say that if I pick my 10 closest friends in the first minute of our conversation,
Yeah.
there will be a laugh.
Yes.
There will be a laugh. Somebody's going to say something goofy or do something goofy. It's not always, how was your day today? Oh, my day was terrible. We don't roll like that. It's always, we're looking for the laugh.
Yes. I mean, it's that similarity attraction effect, right? So I have, friends, we laugh about really like sometimes some raunchy things, right? And then there are other friends I know that probably would not appreciate that sort of humor. And so it's like, these friendships groups don't mesh together, but I know these are aspects of my own
Can I
personality.
ask what kind of raunchy thing?
That's for conversation for later.
Oh, we got Brian going on that one. Kurt Shake's not listening now.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but you want to know yourself. You want to know what makes you feel good, what makes you feel seen, and you want to make sure that you're surrounded by people who make you feel that way. Now, if you're the type of person who has a hard time with social interactions, then it's important that you strategically get yourself out there. Don't put yourself in high-risk situations to practice your social skills. So you don't want to practice on your boss or the person that you're most attracted to and have a crush on, right? You want to choose. Vanessa Van Edwards says that, for example, you can go get more haircuts, right? For guys, you can get a little shave and practice with your hairdresser because they are usually really good socially.
Yeah.
And you're captive in their chair, so you guys have to talk anyway. Or do pop-ins. Go to the grocery store on a daily basis instead of going one trip per week, and talk to the person who's checking you out. Start making friends with the people in the store. Low-risk situations. The receptionist at the gym. Start making casual conversation. Gentle banter is what Vanessa Van Edwards calls it. And then that way you'll become more comfortable with this your social skills, so that when the stakes are a little bit higher, you can then make good friendships and
Don't go to the first meeting and say, Debbie, I've been watching you on Facebook.
and you can, there's like a general there's a level of vulnerability that you can bring that actually creates fast intimacy.
Not on the first one.
But you can say, for example, you're at a party, I'm really glad that you were here. I was a little nervous and thought I might not come because I was nervous I wouldn't make any friends.
Yeah.
That's a level of vulnerability that people can connect to, and it fast track. So it actually can it can lower that time, from 90 hours to maybe 30 if you're becoming more intimate quicker. So keep it positive. You don't want to be associated with negative. You don't want to come and talking about traffic, bad news, bad weather.
Remember we were talking, that's how we got the name of the show. We were saying no negativity. That's why we said good vibrations, good vibes.
Yes. Don't diminish yourself.
Yeah.
Come in with a positive attitude and be the kind of friend that you want to attract to you. Remember that what you give, you get back in life.
Very good. Great show. And Sandra Salvo, I promise we're going to do a part 3 on this. We'll be back.